A storm is brewing in America's media battlefield. One voice has just shattered the silence. Megyn Kelly, once silenced, now strikes back. And with 4 words, she's declared open war. Daily Magazine News. The clock had just passed midnight. Inside one of New York's towering skyscrapers, the lights of Megyn Kelly's podcast studio burned bright. As soon as the microphone's red light turned on, words that would shake the foundations of the US media echoed through the air. Kelly, her voice firm and unwavering, declared, "Enough is enough. This is war." This was no ordinary outburst. It was one of the fiercest challenges the American media landscape had ever witnessed. For Kelly had been stockpiling her anger against what she called the woke media for months. Outlets like CNN, MSNBC, and the New York Times, which she described as ideological propaganda machines engineering society, had pushed her patience to the breaking point. Megyn Kelly was no stranger to controversy. She made her name on Fox News with sharp commentary, later moved to NBC, and then left after claiming she had become a target of cultural pressure and media censorship. Since then, she had built her own podcast empire, an independent voice with a rapidly growing audience. But this moment was different. In the summer of 2025, the New York Times published an article describing Kelly as a relic of an old era of journalism and a spokesperson for the radical right. For Kelly, this was the breaking point. Looking straight into the camera, live on air, she said with defiance, "You will not silence me. I don't rely on your networks, your billion-dollar ad revenues, or your political connections. I rely on the American people, and the more you attack us, the stronger we become." At the core of Kelly's fury was the concept of woke media. By her definition, it was a movement attempting to discipline American society through gender ideology, cultural sensitivities, and political correctness. The moment her words hit the airwaves, social media erupted. On X, formerly Twitter, the hashtag #ThisIsWar shot to the top of the trends. Thousands rallied behind Kelly, while others fired back with hashtag #StopKelly. America was split down the middle. On one side, she was hailed as the last fortress of free speech. On the other, she was condemned as the modern face of hate speech. The White House remained silent. The Biden administration gave no official response. But on CNN, a former Democratic advisor close to the administration issued a warning, which Kelly is exploiting the collapse of trust in the media. The real danger is this: if this war rhetoric spreads, hatred toward institutions of journalism will grow uncontrollably. Fox News, meanwhile, ran Kelly's remarks as their top story. Megyn Kelly, the voice of courage. Over at MSNBC, the framing was entirely different. A host branded her as the populist of the post-Trump media era, accusing her of deliberately dividing society. In the 48 hours following her broadcast, protests broke out in New York and Los Angeles against media censorship. Demonstrators waved signs that read, "Stop censorship" and "A truth over woke." Clips of Kelly's podcast flooded TikTok and Instagram. Her fiery words, especially "This is war," they were remixed into rap tracks, set to cinematic montages, and even turned into viral memes. The phrase became a battle cry for one America and a threat for the other. Social media was ablaze. Kelly's supporters. The media hides the truth. Kelly has the courage to speak it. Her critics. Kelly is legitimizing hate speech. Within 24 hours, a YouTube clip of her rant garnered 30 million views, more than most primetime shows in American television history. Republicans wasted no time capitalizing on Kelly's fury. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis quoted her directly in a speech. "Yes, this is a cultural war, and we will win it." Progressive Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, struck back on Megyn. "This war rhetoric will only deepen the divisions in our society. Freedom cannot be won by threatening others' existence." This back and forth made one truth clear: the culture wars were not only alive, but intensifying as the 2028 elections loomed closer. In the days following her broadcast, CNN and MSNBC experienced rating slumps. Younger viewers were drifting away from legacy networks, flocking instead to YouTube and podcasts. The New York Times saw an 8% spike in subscription cancellations. A media analyst told Bloomberg, "Kelly isn't just a broadcaster anymore. She's becoming an existential threat to media empires. As more independent voices like hers emerge, traditional giants are doomed to crumble." And then Kelly made her next move. She announced a brand new platform for independent journalists. She called it Free Voice. Its mission, she declared, was to create a censorship-free media ecosystem. No more distortions of your news, no more silencing your voice. On our platform, only the truth will remain. The announcement triggered a tidal wave of anticipation. Hundreds of thousands pre-registered for Free Voice. Investors lined up with offers. Kelly wasn't just a media personality anymore. She was morphing into a media mogul. But the deeper story wasn't simply about a podcast rant. Kelly's 4 explosive words, "This is war," had become a turning point. This wasn't just rhetoric. It was the symbol of an era when trust in the mainstream press had collapsed, and independent voices were rising in defiance. The divide was no longer just Democrats versus Republicans. It was now legacy media versus independent media. Which side would win? Was Kelly igniting a revolution in journalism, or was she fanning the flames of America's fragmentation? Only time would tell, but one thing was already certain. Megyn Kelly's late-night declaration would go down in history. This is war. And that wraps up tonight's story. Remember, what you've just heard is not a real news report. It's a fictional narrative created only for entertainment purposes in a virtual setting. None of these events or statements are real. If you enjoyed this dramatic take, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to World Daily News, and ring the bell so you never miss the next big story. Until then, stay sharp, stay questioning, and we'll see you next time.